Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Artha. Good evening. Able to send my screen?
Yeah.
This is the topic which I discussed during our last class. So, do you
Yeah,
have
just
the topic?
listening to mutable and mutable.
Yes. So, any confusion?
Now, just want to have small discussion.
Yes.
Mutable means we can change the value,
Yes.
not
Mutable means we can change the value, and immutable means we cannot change the
we
value.
cannot. But you said that even though string is immutable, we can change. You said like that something.
This is our example, right?
Yeah.
Where is that? Yeah.
Mm,
S3 is a string. So, for
yeah.
S3, we just modified something. So,
Mm.
we are able to change the value.
Yeah, we are able to change the value.
Then that's where the statement is contradictory, right? I said we cannot change the value, but still we can modify the value, right? So, but
Yeah.
actually, when we are changing the value, it is actually referring to the memory perspective. So, what
Okay.
perform any string operation, whether merging means concatenating and substring and doing any string operation that you are going to do with the strings,
Mm.
every operation is going to create you a new object in the memory. That means
Mm.
you assign some value or you concatenate something, it's going to create a new memory, new string object in the memory. What will happen to the old one? Old one will be left alone. New memory
Okay.
location is going to be given to you. So for you, it's transparent that it will be like old memory and new memory. The new object is going to map. So what old object is going to be in the pool string
Mm.
where this
Mm.
is going to clean up because it was nobody is using that block
Mm.
object no more.
Mm. Mm.
So ideally, we are not changing the original value, right? We are coming up with a new one. That's where like the statement is that we are not able to change the values.
Okay,
When
we
we
are not able to change. Yes, it is immutable. Immutable. I mean, we are not able to change, but we are creating new values
yes,
for the
ideally,
same variable.
yeah, when you try to do something, you feel that you are changing, but internally, it's not changing that value. It's giving you something new into that variable.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay.
There is a string buffer is not the case. Whatever is the memory location, to the same memory location, you are appending, you are manipulating, you are doing everything. So from the same object you are manipulating. So object is not going to create it again and again. So same memory location is going to give it to you. So here you are modifying the same location, right?
Yeah.
So here,
We are modifying the object, right?
yes, we are modifying the object.
Yeah, but the modified value is storing is going to store in the new memory location.
No, no, it's going in string buffer. It's going to be the same location. Here,
Okay.
when I say like so mutable, immutable, it's with respect to memory locations.
Mm.
So when you say string buffer is mutable means we can modify that means whatever the memory location that is pointing to string buffer, you are going to change the values which is pointing to that memory location. So still memory location is going to be same. Let's say in that memory location ABC is a word. So you can put
Oh.
hello world, but still the memory location is going to be same.
Okay. Got it.
If you try to do the same thing, so ABC is one more old value and hello is a new value which is going to be showed.
Yeah. But not to the same memory location, to the new memory location.
Yes,
Okay, that's the difference. We
that's the
can
difference.
change. Okay. So, okay. Okay.
We can
Immutable means we can't change,
we
but
can't
we are
change the existing value.
we can't change the existing value.
Exactly.
Okay. No, just want to know how the questions would come from this interview questions.
Here,
That's the reason.
here they'll make you confused.
Yeah.
So blindly, you should. So first of all, like for the until you are comfortable, you should remember that string is immutable or string buffer is mutable. Otherwise, over the period, you will confuse that string buffer is immutable and string is mutable.
Okay.
So it happens, like not only for you. So quite common until
Okay.
you're comfortable. So just remember these two words. So string, string, immutable.
Okay.
Immutable. So then you should know internally that what is immutable. Immutable is I cannot change any value.
Yeah.
Immutable is I can change the value. That's all. So within these two things, they can make us confused.
Okay. Okay.
Clear now?
Yeah, clear.
Exception handling. So you might have already heard this exception handling maybe in the second class or third class, right? When we are making the command line arguments.
Yes.
There was an issue and we could not resolve at that moment because it's still new to the technology. Now we can handle those kind of things. Exception handling in Java is one of the powerful mechanisms to handle your runtime errors so that normal flow of the application can be maintained.
Okay.
If you're not using exception handling, what happens? Still the program is going to continue. If by chance if something is failed, it terminates the program execution abnormally.
Okay.
That's the improper behavior, right? So whatever is the case, you would like to exit properly. You start with begin and start with come up with the end. So no matter if you face some issues, that's fine. So whatever the issues, try to handle that and come back to the flow normally. So always make sure to maintain that kind of a flow instead of just having some kind of issues and terminating program abnormally. To handle that kind of scenario, exception handling. It's an event that disturbs the normal flow of the program. It is the object which is thrown at runtime. Okay.
Okay.
To resolve this, so primarily we have two types of exceptions: checked exceptions and unchecked exception. Okay. The classification of exception. Checked exception means these are the exceptions that are thrown by the methods of the classes, and they must be caught for the successful compilation of the program. Okay, that means when you write some piece of code in Java, automatically those things expect you to handle them while coding itself. Like that means it's going to give a compilation issue at the time of coding.
Okay.
So when you do something, that line is expected to handle. That's why it is giving the information that this comes under a checked. That means you need to handle them. So
okay.
Another category is unchecked. These are thrown by the JVM. They need not be caught for successful compilation of the program. Means unchecked. I don't know what kind of type, what kind of issue that might occur based on the user input. Means if user is, let's say we are expecting a number from user. So if user is entering a number, then that's when. If user is entering something, then that's where like the problem is. So how can I say at the compile time? Compile time I cannot say it. It is based on the runtime, right?
Okay.
So checked exceptions are at the compile time and unchecked exceptions are at the runtime.
Runtime.
Okay. So when you are dealing with any kind of a code related to checked exception, they expect you to handle that exception in the coding. Otherwise, program is not going to be compiled. But it is not the case with unchecked. When you do some coding related to it, but which is not aware that whether you might get an exception or you might not get. It's all based on the user input that has been entered.
Okay. Okay. At last, checked exceptions means if we don't handle that,
Compile time error.
at compile time, it means it stops the program.
In the while compiling itself, it's going to fail.
Okay, it
There is
won't
no point
continue.
of like running at all.
Okay.
So, but in this case, it compiles and it runs, and in between execution, if there is any improper input, then it stops.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll give you the some of the examples of the checked and unchecked. Checked means some of the standard exceptions.
Okay.
These are some of the examples of checked exception. Unchecked are so capital letters and small letters. It's a combination. See, interrupted exception. This is the exception that usually face when you are working with thread-related programming.
Okay.
When you do some coding related to thread, so it expects you to handle this exception, otherwise your program is not going to compile.
Thread. Okay.
Thread. So we are yet to discuss. We have some time.
Okay. Okay.
IOException. So when you are dealing with the file handling, IO is nothing but input output. When you are dealing with the file handling, so then it expects you to handle this exception, otherwise your program is not going to compile.
Okay, so it is compulsory to write
It's
files
compulsory to handle.
Okay.
The ClassNotFoundException. When you are working on loading with the classes, so that's where the ClassNotFoundException. When you're dealing with that, you need to handle them.
So when we are using
When we are loading a classes using a class.forName,
okay.
in JDBC, in SQL, in JDBC program, you might see that there is a statement that class.forName, there is a class. That means we can dynamically load a class. Okay. So when we are loading, so suppose if we give it, that loading is going to take a string argument. If the string argument is an invalid class, it's going to tell you that class not found. If the class which you are expecting me to load is not found. That's where this issue is. That's exception. When you are working with the JDBC, when you are connected to database and you are doing some manipulations, that's where the SQLException. These are the specific exceptions that can be seen only when you are actually working on that particular topics. Okay, still we haven't discussed anything. Just to show you an example that how it shows, I'll just code one of the example. Okay, just to show you that. But we are not digging in detail because once we start working with any of the topics, so we'll be doing a lot of examples, and every day we have to handle that. Otherwise, it will not work. For example, I'll just code this. As of now, it's clear.
Yes, clear. Yes, clear.
So I'm going to write one line.
Okay.
Immediately, my program is going to be failed. Error I'm getting here, right?
Yeah.
When you face this is compile time error, right? When you compile it, the class is automatically compiled. That's where you are seeing error.
Okay. Yeah.
When you place it, say that unhandled exception, IOException. Means this particular line is going to report you IOException. If you want to resolve that, you need to handle that exception. Got it?
So we are reading the file. Okay.
I just showed you the example just to show you how it looks like. So to resolve this, we need to handle this exception. How do you handle? You have to use these keywords: try, catch, finally, keywords too. So I'll just show you that. I'll discuss about it later. I will not get an issue. Right? This is how you handle it. So when you are working with the checked exception section.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay. Okay.
We are going to dig into this top specific
So
exception.
for all checked exceptions, we need to use this three keywords: try, catch, finally.
Yeah, not three. So try, catch. Finally,
Okay.
there is a special meaning, so that it depends on the need we can use. But
Okay. Try,
mandatory,
catch is a set of words. Okay.
yes, try and catch.
Okay.
What to handle and if something goes wrong, what. So I'll just come back to the explanation.
Okay.
So that's all the checked exception. So if you do something, if the code is related to any of those things, it expects you to handle that. Otherwise, it cannot proceed further. So unchecked exception. So like for example, this one, number format exception. When you are going to get this exception, when you are converting a string to a number, by chance if it's not able to convert, then you are going to get a number format exception. Let's say you pass a string ABC and you are expected to convert it into integer. Will that work? No, right?
No, yeah, it won't convert.
Yeah, it's going to give us number format exception. The same way, negative array. So this is based on the input, right? You might ask the user to enter some value. If you enter something string, it might fail. If you enter something valid value, it might work, right?
Oh, at runtime, yes.
It's purely based on the runtime, all the values, whatever I'm discussing here. Array index out of bounds exception. Let's say you have an array size of 5. So if you are trying to access 6th element, what happens? Which is not available.
Yeah, out of bound.
Out of bounds. It's out of range of. So that's where it's going to give you the exception that dynamically you might access any kind of index, right? With an array. That's it. Negative array size. When you're trying to manipulate an array, so when you're accessing array size with a negative, usually array index starts with 0, right?
Yes.
So when you try to manipulate with the sizes as negative, and you're trying to give it size as negative, so it doesn't work.
Okay.
Negative array size. So arithmetic exception. When you are trying to divide a number by 0, in mathematical terms, it's an infinite, right? Mathematical terms. In the Java programming, it's going to give you arithmetic exception because any number divisible by 0 is not a valid operation. It is going to give you an arithmetic exception.
Okay.
So I'll show you examples for all these things. Do not worry. Null pointer. So this especially with an object. Okay, object is essentially any type of an object. String is also an object, right? So any object that you declared, but you haven't assigned any reference to it, then you're going. But you are trying to perform something on that object, that's going to give you a null pointer exception.
Okay.
String s I have declared, but s equal to something I have not given. So what does s is going to have? S is going to have in the memory, it is null. On top of yes, if you try to perform something, on the null object, if you try to perform something, it's an invalid operation. So it's going to give null pointer exception. Okay. So I'll discuss with this and then do an example and all these things.
Okay.
Try, catch, finally. These are the most common keywords when you are with an exception handling. Okay. Try. So this is a block where you can put all your lines of a code that you are suspecting. Means I'm having these are the lines. From these lines, I might get an issue, right? The suspected lines you are going to place it in the try block. And if something goes wrong, what needs to happen? That's where the code has to be written in the catch block. Okay. So in your suspected code, anywhere, if something goes wrong, then in control comes to the catch block. Means just a little comparison with if and else. If you are doing, if something failed, so else part comes, right? In the same way, if something is given error in the try block, immediately control comes to catch block.
Okay, just like if else. Okay.
Just a comparison, little comparison, not 100%.
Okay.
So assuming that you have in the try block, you have 100 lines.
Hmm.
So let's say at the 10th line you got an error.
Hmm.
Control immediately comes to the catch block. It doesn't care about the 11th to 200 lines.
Okay, if it finds any error in the try block, it's directly the execution is going to the catch block.
Catch block, exactly. So it doesn't
Okay.
care about the remaining code, like whether it's going to work or it's going to give us an issue or not. As in when first issue comes, it jumps out.
Okay.
So the try block is the actual block which is going to have actual code. The catch block is, this is where we are going to provide alternate solution. Instead of breaking your program, you just take any control into catch block. So after taking control, what you have to do, you have to just provide him a message saying that, let's say if it is not able to convert something. So in this catch block, you are going to say that, so maybe input might be wrong, maybe input might be string something. So please, you are going to give some valid information to the user that so and so thing might be a problem. So here we are
Okay.
just passing information. If something goes wrong, we are just informing the user that something might have happened wrongly with this field.
Okay.
So what you are communicating properly to an end user that this is a problem. So in case then you are coming out. So you are just passing information. You are coming out. You are exiting.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's where the catch block is.
Okay. Once it finds the error in try block, so it won't. It stops the execution and directly it comes to the catch.
Yes, it stops the
So,
execution which are there in the try block, but the main program still continues.
okay, it stops only the try block. Okay.
Only the try block, that piece of code, but
Okay.
still
Okay.
the program is running, and now you move to control.
Okay.
You move to catch block.
Mm. Understood.
So that's how the try and catch.
Mm.
Finally is a common block. So one thing, like, so try is, as I said, the 100 lines out of the 10, after at the 10th line, if you face something wrong, you might jump into catch block. By chance, if there is no issue at all in all 100 lines, then catch block is never going to be executed.
Okay.
If there is no error, so there is no point of asking to resolve this error, right?
Mm.
So catch block
Yes.
is going to be executed only if there is any problem in the try block. Otherwise, it will not. So this is not guarantee block. This is the optional block. It depends on the error that you are
Okay.
going to get the try block.
Mm.
Now
Understood.
let's say we are dealing with the files.
Okay.
So when we're dealing with the files, we might open a file, and when we're done with, we might close a file, right?
Mm.
So anything, and not only file, any resource, you might open a database connection and you might close, right?
Yes.
So
We do
anything,
that.
yes. So assuming that you have coded something in the try block that you have opened a file. Okay, in the
Okay.
first line you opened a file, in between you are doing something, at the 10th line, your control moved out of that, came to catch block.
Okay.
Who is going to close the file? Closing is pending, right?
Yes.
In the memory, it's open because you made an abnormal termination.
Yes.
So can I put close here? If I put close in the catch block, will that be guaranteed?
No, it won't be guaranteed. Why? Because if it finds any mistake, error only, it comes to the catch you said.
Yes. So
Mm.
the failure case, it might work. In the success case, it might
It
not
won't.
work, right? So
Mm.
success case means, that means I have to put one close block in the try at the end, and the another close block in the catch block, right? Then it works for both the cases,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
Instead of
Mm.
going for that kind of manipulations, finally is a common block which is executed in all the cases, like whether you came with the try block, whether you came with the catch block, or both, or individual, whatever, any combination. Finally,
Mm.
is a common place which is going to be final
Mm.
stage for your execution. So you can
Okay.
put all the closing of the things, like releasing the resources, closing the connection, whatever, anything you can do in this block.
Mm.
Okay, that's where the
Mm.
finally block is.
Mm.
Got it?
Understood.
Now we'll jump to the examples. Number four exception. I'll check. Instead of going for command, I'm just taking the variable directly.
Okay.
Now, this is what happened. So if the user is entering proper value, it's simply converting, right?
Yes.
So if user is not entering something wrong, immediately failed at the convert because 2 to A, triple to A, which is alphanumeric, right?
Yeah.
It cannot convert. So problem is at this line. Look at it. The line number is saying that line number 10.
10. Yeah.
So for us, we know that we are developers. We know that after looking at this error, maybe after learning exception, I can say that yeah, after looking at this exception, say that there is some problem with it, right? But for the end user who is using my application, if I show this exception, does it make sense? No, right?
No.
We'll just shout away like I don't understand this one. So for him, like, we need to give a proper message. So what you can do? Try catch. Something or any message which can be understandable. So instead of error, now what happened? Please enter valid input to convert. Otherwise, you can say something. So now we are asking something to double check him. So we are not throwing him error message. We are just giving informative message, right? Suppose if you entered proper value, it will behave the regular way.
Yeah, it won't come to the catch.
Okay? This is how the number format exception is. All the array index out of bounds. The same program, I'll just code everything. This is your number format exception. Array index out of bounds. Okay. The array size is 3, right? Want to know? Array size is 3. Suppose if I'm asking to print something, yeah, you have 2 means you should give us the value 30, right? Suppose if you have 3 means there and it's out of bound because 3 is not available, right? 0, 1, 2.
Okay.
Referring to index which is not available, which is out of bounds, out of range.
Yes.
So what you can do? Simply refer to that. So capital letters and small letters. A capital, I capital, O capital, F. So this O capital, B capital.
So when we are using arrays, by default we use that one. Array index out of.
It depends. Like if you suspect that there is a misuse of possibility, use that.
Oh, if you have a doubt, okay, then we need to use.
A doubt in the sense like it depends on how you are accessing. In my program, suppose if I'm sure that I'm never going to come into this one, I do not need to handle this. Index out of bounds.
So we don't know that at runtime anyone can give it like anyway. So I think compulsory we need to write this.
Let's say if your this size is not in your control, so dynamically you are changing in the program again and again. So, and at the same time you might be accessing randomly elements. So in that case, you need to always take care of this one. Otherwise, you might end up with the same issue.
Yeah.
This can be understandable by the user, right? We're just giving you proper information. The next one, negative array size. Type one, giving negative size here. The first one, I given the positive value because it ranges from 0 to 4, that we know. In negative, what is the range? So my starting value itself 0. When I give max size, there is no meaning, right? That's why the negative array size. So we need to handle them. How do you handle? The same way. Some message, right?
Okay. Okay.
Arithmetic exception. So arithmetic exception means when you are trying to divide a number with 0. So we need to have this is a success flow, right? 10 by 2.
Yes.
Correct way. Now if I change the value of b to 0, now you'll end up with that error. Arithmetic exception divided by 0.
0. Okay.
What you need to do? Same thing you need to handle that.
Okay.
Right? If you give a proper value, it will work as usual. Any confusion?
No.
Next, NullPointerException. Then I'm going to get the 5, right? NullPointerException because you are performing some function, you are invoking some function which is a null. There is no point of referring to it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Here?
Hmm.
I'm just writing finally to this one block.
Finally.
So right now it's a native case, right? Native case, you can see that execute finally. And the first two case, run case to execute finally, right? So in either case, is the page which is going to be executed. So usually we'll write in this block the closing of connections, closing of the resources, everything. It's just a suggestion, but we can write any logic whatever you wish. But it was specially intended for that purpose, right? It's a finally area. So in the common area where I might do cleanup activity.
I mean, once we open the connections, just to close that, I mean, like files or anything.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. For null pointers, everything also, for these kind of things also, do we use final? Finally?
No, so finally, as I said, for closing the resources. Are we doing any kind of resources here? No, right?
Okay, thought only for files. Okay.
Files, connections, anything, any resources that you are creating and you would like to close at the end as a success flow, that's where you
Okay. Okay.
but you can write anywhere, but those are actual intention for this one. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for me, like what to close here, nothing is there for me.
Yes.
Code for me, not required this piece of code. Just to show an example that how it works.
Okay. Okay.
Clear?
Yes, clear.
Working with multiple catch blocks for the hierarchy.
Multiple catch blocks.
So here I showed you single parts, right? This is one section. You might this error. If you do this thing, you might get this. Like that, I showed you different things, right? In reality, are we going to get only one issue out of 100 lines? No, right? There is a possibility that any issue can come out of those 100 lines.
Yes.
Right? So obviously, you need to handle multiple things. It's a suspect out of here 100 lines is just an example I'm referring. It can be any number of lines, and out of this number of lines, you might end up with any number of issues.
Okay.
So we don't know like what kind of issue it comes into picture. So obviously, you need to handle them all.
Okay.
Multiple catch blocks you need to handle. So your code is, you might get number format exception. So you might get error index, or you might get this one, and all like that. You can have any number of things you might get. So what you have to do, you have to handle all those things. So if something goes wrong, that corresponding catch block is going to execute. If this is going wrong, this corresponding. So depends on the error, the corresponding catch block is going to be executed accordingly. That's where the multiple catch block.
Okay.
When we are catching the multiple issues, we need to follow the hierarchy. Means hierarchy is the exception hierarchy that needs to be followed. Lower exception has to be catched first, and the higher exception has to be catched at the last. That I'll show you with an example.
Oh, that's better, I think.
This part is clear, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, this is one issue for me, and this is one issue for me, this is one issue, right? So if I put a try block, if I put a common exception, so exception is the topmost one.
Okay.
If I run this is one error, this is one error, this is one error, right? Let me try this.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but after those, first I'm showing you single catch. So what is the disadvantage you are going to get with single catch? Then I'll come back to the multi-catch.
Okay.
Actual problem is, it has given the first problem at this one, right? But the message...
First array you have created of size 5, and again you created a of 6 is equal to 10. New array?
No. In the first array, so on the sixth element, I'm trying to show a value 10. A of 6 is...
Okay, you added a new element to the array.
No. I'm trying to add a value to the invalid index.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. The array size is 5, but you have given a of 6.
That's what in the last program I've seen, right? If you look at it.
Yes. Out of bound.
Yeah. So here you get out of bounds. Here you'll get number format. Here you'll get null pointer.
Okay.
So, but out of those, all those lines, I just give a common code. So the common statement I'm guessing here, the message is not specific. So I'm just saying there is a problem with so and so.
Okay.
I cannot say anything, right? Suppose if this is 5, so suppose this is 4, something which there is no error will come here. Now the error is with this one, right?
Yeah.
The problem is, so still I'm getting the same message. Let's say I resolve this one. Now
Still
error will come here.
NullPointerException.
Now you'll get the output, right? And that means the previous case, though those are different errors, still if I'm doing a general exception handling, so I'm going to display a general message, but I do not have any specific things, right?
Okay.
I want to do this, I wanted to have the specific things.
Okay.
That's where the actual things to do. Now I'll comment this. Now I catch first one ArrayIndex, right? Next one. So I'll give relevant things, right? Now, as I said, though now you suspect that error is here. So whatever is the first error it finds, immediately control jumps to that particular section. Now if we run, it goes to please check the array size, right?
Okay.
It came to this block. Suppose you have rectified this one. I'm rerunning. Now this time could not convert given number. Right? This time, because error is number format exception. Though the error index is already there, but this time it has thrown something, right? It has reported this message. So this it has extracted this message. So we have resolved this one also. We run this. cannot perform anything on null object means this object. So specific issue message, I'm just reporting to specific things, right? Something previous case is general message, so I can give that message, but it doesn't satisfy the user 100%, right?
Yeah.
Issues, I'm just giving general. There is some problem with it. I know that there's a problem, but what is the problem? What is the problem with which field, right?
Oh.
I'll be able to give more information if I know the specific things, right?
Okay. Okay.
So if you give like this, so let's see, if I show like this, when you run a program, can you tell anything that what is the problem with which field? Is it problem with the array index, or is it problem with the number format, or is it problem with null? No,
Yeah.
right?
No, we can't say.
Message, I cannot say any specific message. I have to give the general message because I'm handling the thing. Always go for a specific things, right?
Okay. Okay.
So specific things up to here. So working with multiple catch blocks. Now you're clear, right? Now I'll show you the hierarchy.
Okay.
One second. So here we know that these are 3 errors. We have things are coded, but in reality there are many things which we might not know, right? So those for those things you need to go for the general thing, right? So as and when I enable general thing, immediately I got the error for all 3. Any guesses?
Oh, you got error. Catch exception.
Code is correct with a small twist here. The reason is this is the topmost guy, right?
Exception is
Class for all your exception. So if you are placing a bigger container on top and then you are putting a lower containers at the bottom, does it make sense? No, right?
okay. No, you said by default. Okay, there is a problem with the input. Okay.
So apart from these 3, you can suspect that there are many errors.
Okay. So how would you able to know that these are the primary ones? I mean, catch array, array.
Not these are the primary. So while developing, being a developer, you might suspect these things.
Okay.
So, but there are some things you might not suspect. So you feel that so string yes, I'm going to get always a value, but there are chances that you might not get a value, right?
Okay. Okay.
So you might not code at the time of developing because I am happy that every time user is going to enter value in my yes. If user is not entering, then you'll end up with this issue, right? So you might not handle because of the unawareness, because we have a number of exceptions. So in that case, instead of breaking the program, I want a general one. That's where the general, if nothing is satisfied, so immediately it goes to the default one.
Okay. Okay. So as a developer, we know that where we get where we know we know that
you might get.
Okay, we are able.
Possible exceptions you might get as part of development. Being a developer, you know that, yeah. So when we are developing something means we are in a visible, see that user is going to enter something, you are going to get something. If your user is not going to enter, that's when the product comes into picture.
So we can expect the exceptions. Okay.
We can expect.
Yeah.
It all depends on the logic and how the logic is built.
Okay, depending on the logic, we need to write these catch blocks. I mean, arrays or number format or anything, null pointer.
Anything.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, what I did, as for the statement, whatever given, it's correct. And if nothing is applicable out of these things, assuming that apart from here we have 3 things, assuming that that's a 4th thing comes into picture. So 4 or 5 or whatever. So I'm going for general thing.
Okay.
So here the error, the reason why I'm getting the error is I'm putting a bigger container first. Means let's say someone is throwing to catch you.
Okay.
Someone is throwing to catch the exception. So if you're catching the big issue with the bigger one,
Mm.
So what is the point of putting the lower container, small containers at the bottom? No, right?
Okay. Okay.
You have a multiple sizes of containers. So,
Okay.
you know that let's say 1 liter milk can be stored in a small container box.
Yeah.
So for that we can also use a bigger container, right? So but for just putting the smaller quantity, if you use a higher vessel, that will fulfill the requirement. But there should be an order. If there should be an order that we should follow. If the 1 liter is not capable of fulfilling the quantity that you are dumping, then the next container should comes into picture, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So that's where I had to start from the lower. If the smaller guy cannot do anything, then I'll go to the next level. That next guy who can help.
Okay.
If the next guy is also not able to help me, then I can go for the next level.
Okay. Directly not going for the bigger one.
Not going
Leaving
for
the
the bigger
smaller one.
one. It's not to start with the bigger one.
Okay.
If that is the only one, then you'll end up with that. If you are
Okay.
if you are if you are having all kind of vessels, so start with the lower one. So what you have to do, you have to take this guy and make it red. So the reason is, if this guy is not able to handle, and this guy is not able to handle, and this guy is not able to handle, then this guy comes into picture, right? 1 liter not fulfilled, 2 liter doesn't work out, 3 liter doesn't work out, 4 liter it fulfills requirement. If you directly
Okay.
4 liter, then there is no point of writing this piece of code, right? Got it?
Okay.
That's the order and hierarchy. So hierarchy means always go for the topmost at the bottom.
Okay.
The lower ones at the top. Any doubts as of now?
No, clear.
Anything you learned today? Something you learned about exceptionally?
Yeah, I learned.
Okay. So no doubts, right?
No doubts.
Okay.
Clear.
I think we are good for today, and we'll
Yeah.
continue tomorrow.
Okay then.
Today is Thursday, right? Okay. I thought today is Friday. Okay. We'll continue
Yeah,
tomorrow. Today is Thursday.
Thursday, yes. Tomorrow we are having that.
I thought today is
Oh,
Friday.
are you waiting for the weekend?
As usual. Okay. So we'll continue tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, bye. Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.